So I think meanwhile we should start. So a very good afternoon to all the participants and our guest or the expert of the day of the third session, Dr. Arun Kumar sir, who is from MNIT Jaipur. I would like to tell you to our guests that we are having this FDP sponsored from the AICTE, ATAL, that is AICTE Training and Learning Academy. And this is basically financially supported from the ICT also. We are having more than 100 participants registered in this event. The participants are from the different background, although most of the participants are from electrical engineering background, but many of them are also from some other background like mechanical. Some are from control engineering, some are from electronics also. So kind of mixed participants are there in the FDP. And we are having a total 14 sessions in this FDP. And out of that, most of the sessions are, most of the experts are from IITs and MITs. So I hope this will be very much useful to all the participants. And I would like to introduce Dr. Arun Verma sir to our participants also, that sir is working as an assistant professor in the Department of Electrical Engineering, MNIT Jaipur. Sir earned his PhD and Masters from IIT Delhi, New Delhi, India. He was postdoctoral research fellow at Energy Research Institute, NTU, Singapore during 2015-16. Prior to join NTU Singapore, he worked as a visiting graduate researcher at Smart Grid Energy Research Center, University of California, Los Angeles, California, US, during 2014-15. Sir has his research interest in smart grid, microgrids, electrical vehicle integration into the grid, bidirectional power flow, grid interfaced, and standalone solar photovoltaic systems. So with this one, sir has also won the prestigious BASC Fellowship for Advanced Solar Energy Research at a Smart Grid Energy Research Center, University of California, Los Angeles, California, in year 2014. He has been conferred with prestigious POSOCO Power System Research Award, PPSA 2016. At present, he is holding DST research funding of about €1 million, including Mission Innovation, SPARC Spark, ECR, SERD. He is also mentor director for a startup, Rishi Agastya Technologies Private Limited. Along with that, Dr. Verma has guided 3 PhD students and 8 MTech theses. 7 PhD candidates are currently working under him. Also, Dr. Verma had led one Mission Innovation Consortium with 8 Indian and foreign partners, including UCLA, California, UOT, Norway, ETS, Canada, UNSW, Australia. Dr. Verma has other foreign research collaborations with the University of Concordia, NUS, Singapore, Queen's University, Canada, University of Houston, etc. Along with that one, he is an assistant editor of Smart Grid Journal and also the member of editorial board of EPE Journal. Sir was a guest editor of a special issue of IIT Power Electronics. He is senior member of IEEE and served as a reviewer of several IEEE transactions and international journals. He is an executive member of IEEE Delhi section and also an executive member of IEEE IIT Delhi Alumni Association. So with this rich and wide academic and research experience, I would like to request Dr. Arun sir to please present yourself. So thank you. Please, Arun sir.
Thank you, Ganesh sir. Thank you very much. I remember the IIT days when I was about to pass out, and I think you were indulged in your research work deeply, because that time I was about to out and you were busy with your work, because you got only 3-year time and you have to complete it within 3 years then.
Yes,
so
yes,
thank
exactly.
you, sir. Basically, today I'll talk about grid-tied inverters. So in our lab, basically we are working on electric vehicle chargers. We have developed few chargers. We got some patent also. Apart from that, we are working on grid-tied inverter. Basically, we have developed few topologies of inverters. That is basically we call grid-tied inverters. So out of those topologies which we have developed, I'll let you know what exactly we have developed, what was the scenario, and how we find the research gap, and how we develop that. Okay, so this presentation is more technical, less theoretical, I would say. Okay, so I'll give some theoretical analysis also, but meantime the focus is basically what exactly we have developed for grid tied inverter, because lot of things are going on. So we got a patent, not got, we have applied. So we have applied for a patent in a grid tied inverter also, and one patent in EV charger also, and a few publication we got in IEEE transaction, that also I'll discuss. And one of my student, Sangeeta Nehra, is working on this grid tied inverters. So basically I'm going to present her work only. Okay, so 3 PhD I have guided, most probably fourth is Sangeeta, that maybe she may submit in the next maybe January or February, most probably. So let me share my slide first. So my slides are visible.
Okay, it is being shared. Actually, I think it will take time. Okay, it is visible, sir. All clear.
Okay. So the title is Grid Tied Solar Inverters. Before that, I'll just introduce somehow a small thing about solar that is all well known to all of you. And the students are here from MTech or PhD. Both students are there.
Sir,
Sir,
yes, sir.
Manish
Most
sir.
of the participants are faculty. Most of the participants are faculty members, but many of them are some kind of research scholar. They are doing their PhD somewhere.
Okay, very good. So you can note down your queries, and later on you can ask me. I'll keep around 15-20 minutes for the same.
Yes.
So first of all, why solar energy? We have heard so many things about solar, and right now we are also working on a DST funded project, that is Mission Innovation. We are deploying a 50 kilowatt microgrid that is totally on solar, basically, totally solar based. So that is around 20 kilometers from our institute, that is MNIT. So from around 20 kilometers from MNIT, we selected one site in a village, and we are deploying it in the village. And that is what exactly I would say, that whatever we have developed in the whatever research we have developed in our lab, that we are implementing real time in the field. Last week, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday, DST team visited to the site just to take the stock of the situation, what exactly we are doing, because after COVID, so many things have changed. So first of all, why solar energy? Because a lot of things are going on, like already the crude oil, or you can say the petrol diesel prices are soaring high. That is more than 100 right now. And you can see that this is, the situation of a limited energy sources, whatever you can say. See, the crude oil, we have a limited resources. The coal, we have a limited resources, because most 60-70% that is coming from the thermal power plant basically based on the coal fire, where you fire the coal, generate a steam, then at a high pressure that steam impinges on that turbines, and ultimately you are getting the energy generated. Okay, so we'll say that the coal is also has its limitation. Now coming to solar is basically free of cost, I would say, and unlimited. Every day sun is coming and giving you the light. Now with this carbon, or you can say the coal, when you fire this coal or burn this coal in order to generate the steam, lot of greenhouse gases emitted into the atmosphere. Those greenhouse gases are basically sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxide. So many greenhouse gases are there which are emitting in the atmosphere. And I hope you remember the bad effects of these greenhouse gases. So these greenhouse gases basically uh, a major source of, you can say, global warming. Now global warming is basically melting the ice of the glaciers, rising sea levels, and the Kyoto Protocol and this uh, Paris Summit on climate change. So the concern is that we have to reduce the temperature of the earth, global temperature of the earth. If this temperature is continue to increase, then obviously the glacier ice will melt, and the, you can say, the city near the sea that could submerge. I just got the information that capital of Indonesia, Jakarta, uh, they have around $300 billion plan to shift the capital, that is called Jakarta, to somewhere else, because sea level is rising. And I hope in the ancient way, you also heard that this Dwarika, the you can say the city of Bhagwan Lord Shri Krishna, that is now submerged and it is in the sea, something like you have heard. Oh, so that is also a kind of, you can say, that you can relate that this is also a effect of global warming. Okay, so ultimately we need to go for a clean source of energy. Okay, also one more thing I'll share, that when we because government is also focusing on electric vehicles. Okay, and if the simple thing is, if you charge the electric vehicle from the renewable energy, it makes sense. Otherwise your electric vehicles are as good as your conventional IC engine based vehicle. Okay, so this is also one thing which I can prove that also with some data from NREL laboratory. So ultimately we are looking for renewable energy, and in renewable energy the prominent sources right now with us is solar. Okay, so although we say that the present government has connected all the villages of the country to the grid, but ultimately we don't have a much electricity. Even the village in which we are deploying this microgrid, in that village also around 4 to 6 hour power cut is there. Okay, so getting the grid connectivity is one thing. And getting the electricity is another issue. And you also know that lot of this politics over the free electricity is going on. Okay, but one thing we must understand, this nothing is free in this world. You have to pay the cost, whether this is a free bus ticket, or free electricity, or the whatever the so-called politicians say that this is a free. Nothing is free. So simply, if you are getting something free, ultimately you are paying the cost. Simple. So the same thing in the village. You may have a free electricity, but the see, something is free. Okay, but you must get it. We can say that the electricity is free, but you are not getting it. 6 hour power cut is there. Okay, so ultimately we need to think, the cheapest mode of electricity right now, you can say, that is solar. Earlier, when the solar got started, the per unit cost of electricity was around 27 rupees or 28 rupees, but right now it has come down up to less than 2 rupees per unit cost. Okay, so you can see here 1 kilowatt PV system each month prevent 150 pounds of, you can say, the coal from being mined, 300 lbs of CO2 being entering into the atmosphere, 105 gallons of water from being consumed, keep nitrogen oxide and SO2 from being released into the environment. So this is a, you can say, 1 kilowatt of PV system is doing so many things in a whole month. Okay, and when we have installed 50 kilowatt PV system in the village, you can just imagine. Okay, just multiply all those things with 50. So this is something, the advantage of solar energy. Okay, now proper utilization of solar power potential. You can say that if tropical India were to convert just 1% of the 5,000 trillion kilowatt hour of solar radiation, okay, it receive in a year into energy, the country will have enough to meet its energy need. But I'm saying, listen carefully, we have a potential of around 5,000 trillion kilowatt hour of solar radiation, okay, in a year. And if we can convert 1% into electricity, okay, then we can have enough to meet our energy need. In the most part of India, clear sunny weather experience around 250 to 300 days. Out of 365 days, we have a clear sun from 250 to 300 days. Okay. The annual global radiation varies from 1600 to 2200 kilowatt hour per square meter. And the equivalent energy potential is about 6,000 million gigawatt hour. Gigawatt of energy per year. And how much we have, installed till now? I think we have installed till now 80 gigawatt or something, more than 80 gigawatt. The target was up to 78 gigawatt by 2020, but the same target we have achieved, I think, 1 year before. And right now, if I can check the numbers, right now the overall installed solar capacity is more than 80 gigawatt. The highest annual global radiation is received in Rajasthan and northern Gujarat. And you can see this. Means this is the same, you can say, the picture of the village which we have installed the 50 kilowatt microgrid. It is not still functioning. Around 60-70% work has been completed, but yes, we have installed it on the rooftop of a school building. That is, this school is up to 5th to 12th class school is there, and we have installed those solar on the rooftop. So rural schools are used only during daytime, primarily fan, some light, and some electronics. So what exactly I want to say, that whatever solar energy we are generating in the rooftop of that school, we are also giving supply to the school. So see, in a school you have a fan, you have a light, you have some electronics, and in let's say if solar PV with a small battery, that is enough to supply the school building, because when sunlight is poor, it is cooler and fan access is lower. So can we think of, see, basically we are getting DC out of this solar. So can we think of a DC fan? Can we think of LED and CFL which are already working on DC? So if we have this 48 volt DC, then probably we can light those fans and CLF in the school itself. Or in the daytime, I think we only need fan. Okay. So that can be supply from the rooftop solar itself. Now, just to have an introduction of that solar, we have a two type, that is thermal system and photovoltaic system. Thermal is basically heat water. That is basically solar thermal, in which we can heat water for domestic use, heating, and recreational use, hot water or cooling point of view we can use it. That is solar thermal. And but we will focus on photovoltaic system, and in the villages also we are having that photovoltaic system, solar photovoltaic system, which is of 50 kilowatt we have installed right now. This photovoltaic system converts sun rays into electricity. This is one cell, this is a module and array. So when you connect cells in the series, that is called module. So generally, let's say one cell is having around 0.5 to 0.62 volt. And when we connect all those cells in the series, that becomes as a module. Now connect those modules in series and parallels, this will become an array. So for a 50 kilowatt, we have put some array, that is around 12 strings of array we have kept on the solar rooftop of a school building. So we have a different type of solar photovoltaic system: standalone system, utility interactive system. That is, standalone is basically not connected to the grid. That is basically battery, where you have a battery. This battery is being used for storage purpose, just to store the solar, the electricity that is coming from the solar energy. and another is basically utility interactive grid. Now we have a we have a three type of system: standalone, that is battery supported, not connected to any grid or all. One is grid connected, and another is Y model. This is connected with battery as well as this is a grid tied also. So this is a typical photovoltaic system. Energy, have energy from sun. We are putting this energy on the solar panels. Then with the help of this inverter and with the help of this inverter, we are connected into the grid. So PV array, inverters, load, or this is a utility interactive PV system in which we have a PV array. We are charging the batteries and supplying the load itself. So if we classify, or we can classify the overall solar photovoltaic system into one will say grid interface solar photovoltaic system, another will standalone photovoltaic system. Okay, so in a grid interface solar photovoltaic system, we have a three types: single phase grid interface solar photovoltaic system, VISPV is nothing but a building integrated solar photovoltaic system, and another is three phase grid interface solar photovoltaic system. So in a single phase, we have a with DC link, without DC link, and with current unfolding. This is a one type. Building indicator solar photovoltaic is itself one type. Then now three phase grid interface solar photovoltaic system. In a three phase grid interface solar photovoltaic system, we have a single stage or double stage. Single stage is your inverter directly connected with the solar panels, and between solar panels and inverter, if you have an intermediate stage, that is DC-DC converters, then this is called double stage. Double stages means one is panel, then DC-DC converter, then inverter. So DC-DC converters creates another stage. So that is basically double stage, we call it. So that also we can single stage and double stage, we can also classify like three phase 3-wire and three phase 4-wire system. This fourth wire is nothing but a neutral. So three phase 4-wire basically your distribution system. And with battery also, because since I told you Y model, so we can also have a battery in this three phase 3-wire or three phase 4-wire system. This is a grid connected as well as battery supported, both. And standalone you can again classify into single stage and double stage. So this is a overall classification of the solar photovoltaic power generating systems. Now I'll come to some other work, that is basically energy resources. Broadly we can classify them in a conventional energy sources, non-conventional energy sources, or renewable sources. So then you have a wind energy, then biomass, so hydropower, or you can say wave energy, then geothermal energy. And this is how yearly global energy consumption. Okay, so compared to global energy consumption, solar has a great potential, or you can say the sun is a source of great energy potential. So energy from the renewable sources put less strain on the limited supply of fossil fuel, which are considered non-renewable sources. Demand for renewable sources is increasing as the human population continue to grow. Solar photovoltaic is one of the cleanest, reliable, emission-free, and widely available energy source among all the renewable energies. I have already told you that clean source of energy. Okay, if you burn coal, if you burn petrol, diesel, lot of other bad effects are there. The major is global warming, that is basically greenhouse gas effect. Okay, and if you compare with all those things, solar is a cleanest, reliable, emission free, and widely available energy source among all renewable energies. So according to global market outlook, the global solar power generation could reach up to 1270 gigawatt in India. It is expected to reach 78.4 gigawatt. Okay, or already we have covered this limit. Okay, if you Google, I think we are more than 80 gigawatt right now. So the target which could have been achieved in 2022, we have already achieved that. Now, advantage of solar energies. These are the common things. Just to remind you, I am just including them here. Renewable energy sources reduces electricity bill, diverse applications, low maintenance cost, technology development. Solar panel can provide you with a power backup for 30 years. I mean, the average lifespan for those panels are around 25 to 30 years. Creation of job opportunity, improves grid security, and it's a less vulnerable to blackouts. I'll discuss separately about blackouts. Now, the disadvantage is costly, weather dependent. Let's say in the month of December, January, there is no sun. So this is somehow dependent upon the weather. Solar energy storage is expensive and it requires a lot of space. So it is how somehow you can say that 1 meter square is needed for a 1 kilowatt, something like that. Okay, so space is required. So since space is required, and you might have heard that in Gujarat there is a canal. So canal top solar was there. So the advantage of see how the people utilize the space. The canal was canal was just opened. Okay, so it was covered with the solar panels. So there are two advantages. One is the evaporation of water got stopped. Second one is the space utilization. Okay, if you deploy those 1 megawatt plant in a field, it required a huge space. But by wrapping this canal, okay, cover this canal with the help of solar panels, you utilize the space. Second thing is evaporation of canal water is saved. Then second thing is, if you want to clean the panels, you can get water out of this canal. So this is how the cleverly we can utilize the space. So the this is true that lot of space is required for solar. Okay, but somehow we can manage this space also. Now these are the major plants installed in India. These are major, or you can say the famous plant. Okay, the Sagar Island microgrid, that is in Sundarban, Bengal, 26 kilowatt and supplying one village. In that village, around 1400 households are there. In the village where we have deployed this microgrid, that is, I'll also explain that what exactly the difference between our microgrid and all the microgrid in the worldwide. Okay, I would say ours is unique. Okay, and I'll explain the reason why. So this is one how Dharani Solar City, that is in Bihar, 100 kilowatt and supplying one village. Chhattisgarh Renewable Energy Development Agency, in Chhattisgarh they have around 500 kilowatt plant. Roughly 6 villages are supplied from this. Orissa Renewable Energy Development Agency, in each house 2 to 4.5 kilowatt each, around 27 villages they have solar. Then West Bengal Renewable Energy Development Agency, Uttar Pradesh New and Renewable Energy Development Agency. One is Mera Gaon Power, that is Uttar Pradesh. So roughly 8 household. Sikkim Renewable Energy Development Agency. Then Solar Electricity Company, Selco. Then Amrita Self-Reliant Village. You might have heard this Amrita Village in Kerala. 8 kilowatt capacity and supplying 30 to 40 houses in the village. So according to the global market outlook, we have already achieved the target which was enlisted earlier. Now in a standalone, what exactly happening in a standalone? Independent of utility grid, here you have a PV panel, charge controller, you are charging the battery, and then this is an inverter supplying to the house. Storage is typically implemented as a battery bank. Now here grid-tied PV systems, a grid connected photovoltaic system or grid connected PV system is an electricity generating solar power system that is connected to the grid. So you can see the difference between this and this: solar, then inverter, house, and also with the net metering. Okay, this net metering will solve two purposes. From net metering, this is connected to the utility grid. So let's say solar is not there, then you can consume energy from the grid, okay, from here like this. And when solar is there, you can use a solar. And if excess solar is there, let's say your load is in the let's say you have a no load right now, okay, or maybe let's say your load requirement is 1 kilowatt, and now you are maybe you are generating 2 kilowatt right now. So excess 1 kilowatt can be sent to the grid. So this net metering basically tells you that how much energy you have consumed from the grid and how much you have sent to the grid, like that. So grid tie system and external system. So the advantage are, do not have to meet full load needs, no batteries in a grid tie system, and in external or electrical freedom, because this is not connected to the grid. And then second one is operate in a power outage, means when there is no grid you can use the system, okay, or that is because battery storage is there, so you can use it. Now disadvantage of a grid tie system. Disadvantage of grid tie system is no power provided if the grid goes down, or you can say the blackouts. Interconnection itself an issue. Standalone batteries are dangerous and require maintenance. Must meet full load needs, so it is difficult to size it, because battery sizing itself a great challenge. Maybe a lot of people from the audience, they might be working in that battery sizing also. Expensive for large load, and then low voltage require a large wire. So the term expensive for large load, that also we will discuss when I'll come to my left side. So general system layout for grid tied system. This is PV panels, solar irradiance, then inverter, power electronics involved here. That is basically your inverter topology predominantly, and there is a controller for this inverter topology. PC is a point of common coupling, that is the load connection. And here, from here we are sensing the parameters from the grid and ultimately controlling the whole process, controlling the whole solar photovoltaic generation system. So basically indirect current control is also involved in this control of the grid tied PV system. So all these are the component of PV system, that solar panels, power converter, electric component, charge controller, solar batteries, mounting components, like that. Now general classification of grid connected PV system. So as I've already told you, single stage conversion and dual stage conversion. In a single stage, we have a PV panels, then inverter, then ultimately we are connected to the grid. Here, basically, let's say you have some DC, converting that DC into AC, rectifying it, converting that DC into AC using a filter, then ultimately with the help of transformer, required voltage can be achieved. Let's say for single phase, the required voltage 230 volt AC. So the configuration could be transformer less grid tied PV system. You can say the galvanic isolation is absent. And second was transformer connected grid tied PV system, provide galvanic isolation. So here this is a transformer connected PV system. And in dual stage, basically you have a PV panels, DC stage, which I have already told you, and then inverter having isolation, and then grid. So this DC converter solves two purposes, or you can say that MPPT, maximum power point tracking, and then inject active power into the DC link. This is the advantage of having DC stage here. Although you are adding a stage, so this is a kind of a the efficiency will be a little bit down. Here you can see that PV panel and this inverter is inbuilt with MPPT also. Okay, so but the control is little bit trickish in this case, little bit difficult compared to dual stage. So transformer less grid connected inverters are more popular in renewable energy application due to its small size, low cost, and higher efficiency. Because when you are using those transformers, then obviously the bulky size, then efficiency is also an issue. Cost is also an issue. So we always prefer to have a transformer-less grid-connected inverters. So one is transformer-less. Okay. The second thing is, see, you need to keep the DC link of this battery at around 360 to 400 volt. If you want to have a single phase 230 volt AC, then the DC link of the inverter that must be kept at a 400 volt. Okay, you are keeping a DC link at 400 volt, and you are implementing or you are installing this system in the house or on the rooftop, then ultimately there is a safety concern. There is always a safety concern, because large DC link we should not keep in our inside our house. That is something there. Okay, so this DC link is around 360 volt, and then you are now, since you have a transformer here, so let's say if you don't have a transformer, so you need to keep it from 360 to 400 volt, and then it will come to 230 volt AC, like that. Okay, so in order to get 230 volt AC, you must keep the DC link voltage around 360 to 400 volt. So this much of large DC voltage is not desirable when you are working in the home or house. Okay, so the classification of the single phase transformer less inverter topology. See, inverter is a ingredient part of your solar PV system. Okay, for instance, you can avoid the DC-DC converter instead, but you can't go away with inverter. Okay, so for the inverter classification, asymmetric inductor configuration, that is half bridge inverter, there's a neutral point clamping inverter, active NPC inverter, and Conry the NPC inverters. So these are the asymmetrical inductor configuration. Now symmetrical inductor configuration, AC decoupling based inverter, that is Herrick inverter family, then AC to A6 family. Now DC coupling based inverters, this DCH5 family and DCS6 family. Those are the inverter configurations available right now. Okay, so what exactly the problem we have in the existing inverters? Okay, although everything is fine, industry are selling like anything, all the inverters are available in the market. Now the transformer less operation of a grid interactive photovoltaic system decreases the cost, size and weight. Cost, size, weight, and increase the overall system efficiency. A common path is formed between so we are lobbying for a transformer less operation of a grid interactive photovoltaic system. Okay, we want that we are not using any transformer in that. We don't want to use any transformer. Okay, so a common path is formed between a PV array and grid due to the absence of galvanic isolation. Hence, the leakage current is induced due to the voltage difference between PV array and grid. So the value of this leakage current must be less than 300 milliampere. If this is less than this, this is not a dangerous. Otherwise, this leakage current is dangerous to the person who are working on the system. Okay. Now, these leakage current leads to deteriorated power quality, causes personal safety issue, already I have told, and electromagnetic interface, that is interference, that is EMI, and therefore it is essential to curtail this leakage current. So the first target of our work is reduce leakage current. Reduce leakage current. Or better to use word eliminate. Eliminate leakage current. So in few topology, we can eliminate the leakage current. Eliminate means zero leakage current. Okay. But in few topology, we can't eliminate it. We can only reduce it. Reduce it from the this value, which is dangerous. Okay. Like that. So two things are there: either eliminate the leakage current or reduce the leakage current to the safe value. Okay. So reducing this leakage current is one of the issue. So we are basically what we planned that we should design or develop a new inverter topology. So just to overcome the leakage current issue. Then second thing is, I told you in the last slide, last to last slide, that when we are keeping DC link voltage from 360 to 400 volt, we are getting 230 volt AC. So keeping this 360 to 400 volt is not a safe idea. Okay. So can we have or can we develop any inverter which can give us 230 volt AC from 120 to 160 volt? Means we can keep only DC link up to 120 160 volt and we can get a 230 volt AC. So we will say that this is a converter with a boosting capability. Okay, boosting inverter you can say, or the inverter with boosting capability. So if this scenario we can add into the inverter, then probably we can encourage the use of this kind of inverters in the urban areas or rooftop solar power plant. So rooftop solar, let's say in a city where space is a concern. So what people are generally doing, they are putting rooftop solars. Okay. And at a rooftop solar, if you are keeping a 400 volt DC, this doesn't make sense since safety concern is there. So can we think of an inverter where we can give 120 to 160 volt DC and it can give us a 230 volt AC? Okay. So now two targets we have finalized. One is reducing leakage current and second is boosting capability. Means we want a inverter without a transformer and having the features of zero leakage current and boosting capability. These are the target of our work. Okay. So ultimately what we want to develop a novel inverter topology which generate higher number of output voltage levels with a less component count. Means levels, multi levels. Okay. The target was to get an inverter with a boosting capability and zero leakage current. So now how to achieve this? Let's say we are not going for multi-level. Normal inverter, if we talk, in a normal inverter, we need a bulky filter. Okay. And when we go with the multi-levels, the filter size got reduced, or at a particular level, there is no need of filter even. Okay. So when you eliminating the filter is a bulky. Okay. So when you are eliminating the filter, obviously the size, overall size is getting reduced. And if you can also compare that. Let's say H bridge is there. Okay. In comparison to this H bridge, let's say this is a filter and this is inverter. So the switch size, because here you have a higher voltage stress, so the size of the switches are quite large rating. You can see the switch is having a large rating. And if you go for those multi levels, then ultimately the switch rating goes down. This is so that number of switches are more, but the rating is less. And if you compare it overall, your system is economical only. Okay. And the requirement of filter is also not there. So size is reduced, cost is also getting reduced, and you are getting a good waveform. So we are focusing at a design and development of a new inverter topology which require less voltage sensors to maintain the voltage across the switched capacitors. So here one of the topology we have proposed, This is recently published in PESGRI, which is to be held in Kerala in January 2020. This paper we got accepted. This is the latest work basically. So we arrange these switches in such a manner that we are eliminating the leakage current and generate 5 level of output voltage. Now this 5 level output voltage, basically you can see the working modes here. This red one is a load current path and the blue one is a capacitor charging path. So 5 levels we are generating. One is V0 when this VDC, V0 VDC by 2, V0 0, minus VDC by 2 and minus VDC. So total 5 levels we are generating. So A corresponding to V0 equal to VDC. You can see the path of the current. Okay, like this red path, you can see the load current, how the load current is flowing. S1 is conducting, S5 and S1 and S5 are conducting, and this way you are getting the load current. Then when we are getting V0 equal to VDC, so see here your S1 then C1, because C1 was charged here in the previous mode. This blue line you can say C1 was charged. Okay, so now S4 is in the picture, and again you are getting the load current. Now if you compare the C, here you are getting the zero output voltage sorted. So here this is a zero output voltage here. Now minus VDC, that minus VDC is nothing but the opposition of that B, figure B. Okay, so here you can see that your S2 is conducting, C1, then S4, and ultimately see, you can see the direction of flow of current in case of B and D. So both the direction of current is opposite to the B. So that's why you are having a, in case of B it was a VDC by 2, now you have a minus VDC by 2. So this is the another topology we developed. The topology recently we developed. This is the control circuit and the condition of switch S1, S2, S3, S4, S5, S6. So here we have a 6 switches. 1, S1, S2, S3, S4 is this much. This one is S4, and S4 is nothing but basically 2 switches connected in this manner. Okay, so here at a time you can see this S1, S2, S3, S4, S5 and S6. The logical gate-based PWM scheme, this is generated in order to fire the switches. This is a logic developed, and now you can see the simulation result first. This is output voltage and current waveform. These are the levels. You can see 5 levels are there. Now the capacitor voltage, you can see the balance voltage across capacitor VC1 and VC2. VC1 and VC2 are here, VC1, and this is your VC1 and this is your VC2. So the voltage across VC1 and VC2 is also given here, this one. Then this is a voltage stress across the switches. These are the hardware implementation of that proposed topologies. The advantage of this topology is that it generates 5 level output voltage with 6 switches. It eliminates zero leakage current completely, and the disadvantage are no boosting capability, because earlier I told you that we want a inverter with a zero leakage current and boosting capability. So zero leakage current is there, we achieved that, but not the boosting capability. So let's search out some more options. So this is also one inverter we have proposed, and it was presented in that IEEE PEDUS basically, and this is right now similar work is under review in IEEE Transaction of Industry Application. Since we have already presented it in the conference, so I'm presenting it here. So this is another topology. You can just have a quick look at the topological side. So this was the topology with the zero leakage current. Now similarly we have modified another topology. This is here. So this topology is having an inherent voltage boosting capability. Okay, earlier this voltage boosting capability was not there. Okay, so now this is the operation of the circuit proposed. The red color is showing the load current, okay, and blue one is again the capacitor one. So you can see here when V naught is 2 VDC. In B, this is a V naught equal to VDC. 5 levels you will get: 2 VDC, minus 2 VDC, VDC, minus VDC, and 0. So here, A diagram, you have a V naught equal to 2 VDC. So starting from here, this is the path of current. You are getting load current in this way, and you are getting V naught equal to twice of VDC here. Similarly, in V, you will get a V naught equal to VDC. Then in C, 0, because this is a sorted here. Same in case of D also, C or D. Now V naught is a minus VDC, B naught. You can compare this B naught with B part, okay. And then in case of F, V naught equal to minus of 2 VDC. So this is the flow of, at what time which switch is conducting. This is the logic. Logic was developed to balance the voltage across the auxiliary capacitors. And here you can see this is basically the value of leakage. This is basically variable load. The result has been taken for lagging load power factor, then for variable source voltage, and then for variable load. So this is the value of leakage current. You can see all the converters were compared here. H5A, this is the value of leakage current in this H5 converters. H6 here, this is again H6 inverter was also not able to reduce this leakage current. This is a topology Herrick inverter, this one. In this, basically, this is the value of leakage current. This one, this is the leakage current, okay. But in a proposed converter, you can see this is the value of leakage current, okay. So leakage current reduced, and these are the hardware results. Here, the proposed topology generates 5-level output voltage with 6 switches and 1 diode. It generates boosted output voltage without magnetic component. It generates boosted output voltage without magnetic component. Means without magnetic component means we are not using that boosting inductor and all, okay. So now the disadvantage of the topology is it requires voltage sensors to balance the voltage across the switches, switched capacitors, which leads to complex control. So the control is quite, you can say that tricky, or you can say the complex here in this type of topology. Another topology, that is 5-level transformer-less inverter, we have we have proposed. So the features are: eliminate leakage current. You can see here we have eliminated. This is another topology, basically in eliminating. Here we have eliminates the leakage current completely. Inherent voltage boosting capability. Sorry, this one, inherent voltage boosting capability. So this switched capacitor. Switched capacitor voltage are self-balanced. No need of sensors. Generates 5-level output voltage. So this is one of the 5-level transformer-less inverter we have proposed, in which boosting capability, because boosting capability play a major role when you want to install or deploy the PV system in the we'll say the populated area, okay, or in a urban areas, or on the rooftop of such where people are living. If you are employing the system in a remote area, then not an issue, but not the population not surrounding, then this is not an issue. But right now we are talking about the safety of the people concerned. That's why we are talking about this boosting capability, okay. So if we move further, this is the working of the circuit. These are the modes of operation. Here S1 is conducting, then your V1 and SV2 are there. Those are conducting and ultimately moving in this way. Similarly for this, so these are the mode of operation for the topologies. This is the hardware development of the proposed topologies basically. So in this, the switched capacitor boost, gate driver circuits, isolation transformer we have given here. Here load is there, DSO, and these are D space. Since the switching frequency is 1 kilohertz or 2 kilohertz only, so this is basically micro load blocks we are using for the laboratory point of view. So basically this micro load box or D space are okay if you want to have a laboratory prototype testing. Okay, but if you want to deploy them into the village, and if you are talking for a compactness and the packaging, and also definitely we need to go with a DSP. So TI instrument with DSP, a lot of are available, and for our EV battery charging we are working on those DSP kits only. But for laboratory verification we are using all those micro load blocks and D spaces. So this is hardware development part. These are the simulation results, and these are the hardware results. So the voltage across two switch capacitor VC1 and VC2 is given here. This is given here. So this is the results at a lagging power factor. Voltage across capacitor is given where I have taken down, then unity power factor, and variable source voltage and voltage stress across the switches. So all those results were taken while performing the hardware test results. So these developed inverters are basically tested under different conditions. Now moving further, this is a comparison of all the existing converters. So if we see that the proposed converter, you see the first one is number of switches. So starting from this H bridge, H5, H6, half bridge, NPC, NPC, coronary, virtual, DC bus, inverter in 16, like that. So they have a 4, 6, 4, 6 like that. Okay, here the number of switches are 8, and the number of component, diode component 1. Here number of capacitor 2. Here number of inductor 0. In the proposed one, this is interfacing inductor, that is 1. Now maximum conducting switches. So 3 switches are conducting, this one. Inductors. Now output voltage level ours is 5 levels, and rest others are only 3 levels. If you can see from this list, yeah, these two are 5 levels. This one is also 5 levels. Now if we see the leakage current, so here in this case leakage current is non-zero. These all are the non-zero leakage current. Here you have a 0, 0, 0, 0, and in the proposed one ours is also 0. Then boosting ability. So the boosting ability is only with the inverter in 29, 21 and 22. So these are the inverters with having a boosting capability. But how much boosting? So you see the input DC link voltage and total switch stress. So here our total switch stress, if you see here, just a minute. So we see here, this is the capacity 0.9 VDC. So depend upon the, here you can see the 0.6, 0.5 times of VDC. So our boosting capability is higher than the projected one. Okay, we agree that number of switches are more or something are more, but anyway we are achieving that boosting capacity. These are different industries. Okay, Microtech, Luminous, Sucam, Delta, V-Guard, Semtech, Hitachi, Toshiba, Tata Power, Elant Electronics. They all are manufacturing the inverters. But those two things are missing, that leakage current they are reducing only, not eliminating to zero, and the second one is your boosting capability. So the advantage disadvantage are, the proposed topology generates 5-level output voltage with the 8 switches and diode. It generates boosted output voltage without magnetic component. Already I have told you it does not require voltage sensors to balance the voltage across the switch capacitor, which lead to complex circuit stress. It has a higher total voltage stress across the switch. This is the advantage of the topology. Another eight switch topology we have proposed in this topology. This was published in IT Power Electronics, and earlier paper that was published in IEEE Transaction Industry Application. So here also we have a proposed A switch. Now this is the functioning of those 8 switches, 8 switch topologies. So the red will show you the current direction for unity power factor, and the green one is the current direction for non-unity power factor. So this is the logic developed in order to control the circuit, and this is the losses. You can say the blocking voltage of the all the switches. Further, this is the efficiency comparison. You can see here that we have used this component IRFP460 MOSFET is used. This is a triode MVR1560. The rating is 500 volt 20 ampere, and here the rating is 600 volt 15 ampere. Since the switching frequency was low, so we have used TLP 250. Depending upon the switching frequency, the gate driver ICs we used. So if it is a kilohertz or something, we have some other ICs. If it is a less than 25 kilohertz, we have some other ICs. Input DC link we have kept 50 volt. Output voltage kept 100 volt. Line frequency 50 hertz. That is basically line frequency, and the switching frequency we kept 1 kilohertz. So here this is the basically your, if you come see this, this is the efficiency or efficiency curve for proposed topology, the red one. So you can see the proposed topology is higher than the other available inverters. So 3 inverters we have compared here, Hyrec and H5. Now moving further, these are the hardware results. And these hardware results, the proposed topology generate 8-level voltage with 8 switches, and switches are 8 but levels are 5. It generates boosted output without magnetic component, does not require voltage sensors. Same thing, but with those switches means reduced number of switches, we are able to get boosting capability, and we are able to get leakage, zero leakage current. So the advantage is that we are using 8 number of switches and generating 5 levels. So number of switches are more in this case. That is one of the advantage. So this was also proposed topology, and we published it in IT Power Electronics when the IT Power Electronics was not paid journal. Right now it has become paid. So before becoming it paid, we have published around 9 papers in that 2 years in that IT Power Electronics. So this is a multi-level common ground inverter with voltage boosting for a PV applications. So in this, if you count, number of switches are 2, 2, 4, 4, the 7 switches are there. Earlier it was 8, now there are 7 switches. So proposed 5-level transformer-less inverter is based on the common ground type topology. So leakage current issue can be resolved with this common ground type, because in all common ground type, you can assure that zero leakage current. Okay. The proposed topology do not have any other limitation on the modulation index. The auxiliary capacitor are naturally balanced, hence less complex or no dedicated control scheme is required for a balance and regulating the auxiliary capacitor. Now this is the working of those inverter modes. The load current is from red one and the capacitor current from the blue one. So those all 5 modes are available here. This is the control logic developed. The PWM scheme basically. The output result, you can say, the output result at a variable source voltage or variable load. So here the source voltage is varied. Here the load, source voltage vary and the load varies. So these are the simulation results as a lagging power factor and leading power factor. The same has been verified through the hardware results. And the advantage are the proposed topology generates 5-level output voltage and number of component count is decreased as compared to the other one. It generates boosted output voltage without magnetic component. It does not require voltage sensor to balance the voltage across the switch capacitor. So it has lower total voltage stress across the switches, and compare it to the, if you compare to the previous topology, this is better than this. So lower total voltage stress on the switches. So these are the publication we got out of this work. The patent is published on the government website and we have requested for the examination. And these are the few publication of that student: IEEE Transit Industry Application, IT Power Tools, 2 in IT Power Tools, 1 IEEE Transit Industry Application, and 1 patent. So these are the few publication out of this work. Now let me introduce you. This is something we did with we developed the inverter topologies, and still we are working on that. 2 more students are working on that right now. Now we have a Smart Energy and Sustainable Research Lab. That lab I have established before 4 years back when I joined. 5 years back when I joined MNIT Jaipur. So in this lab, currently we are handling around 5 to 6 crore projects, either completed or handling. So one is basically cooperative isolated renewable energy system for enhancing the reliability of power in rural area, in which we are deploying a 50 kilowatt microgrid in the village. That project I'll explain. Then after that, we finished one ECR grant, that is development of unidirectional and bidirectional EV chargers for electric vehicle transportation or green transportation. We have one more grant of Spark. That is Spark is basically a scheme for promotion of academic and research collaboration. That is University of Concordia and University of New South Wales, Australia. So the universities from Canada and Australia are working with us in that Spark grant. So ECR already completed. Spark is Spark is about to finish in March, and this the big project that will also end up in the March 2022. And currently we got one more project in the month of July, that is basically design and development of EV, this grid-tied inverters, basically on the same theme in which we are. I have given my presentation on the same theme. We got another project to develop an inverter, and that is not at a laboratory level, that is basically at a industry level. So few industries are also working with us. Local industry from Jaipur, Janus Innovations Limited, and this Rajasthan Electronics and Instrumentation Limited, those are working with us in that project. So in this ECR project, we developed few chargers, we patented them, we published in a reputed IEEE Transactions and IT Power Electronics. And one of the flagship project we are doing in the village, that is whatever we have developed till now in the lab, we are putting them into the field. So this is basically the village site, and what exactly we are doing here, we have installed 50 kilowatt on the rooftop of the solar, and we have given supply to the 30 houses. So we are planning to have a net metering from JVNL, so that we can the excess power can be sent to the grid, and let's say if something is happened, people can take, let's say solar is not there, people can take it from the grid itself. So here the thing which we are doing, and that which makes this project as a unique from the rest of the world, That is basically when you are generating the renewable energy or whatever, or the solar, you need a reference, and that reference either taking from the rotating mass or from the grid or the diesel generator, something like. But here, in order to met out the loads, or you can say in order to having those maken and breaken in the load, basically we are taking or we are generating that reference from the battery. So that is something we are doing here. This is a block diagram. Okay, the block diagram for that village. Basically, this is a distributed generation, 10 kilowatt each, 10 kilowatt each. We have a on the rooftop, and those each are acting as a distributed generation, and that we are supplying. We have a registered one society. The society has an agreement with the villagers, so the villagers will buy energy from the society, and society will pay the bill to the JVNL. So this is basically a cooperative model of the solar energy, or you can say the cooperative model of the microgrid, where we are giving, we are not giving anything free, because free power, something like that is going on. But the concept is basically pay less and use more, like that cheapest form of energy. And that is the sustainability concept is also there, because once the project got over, so in order to make the project sustainable, this society has been created. Now the novelty, advantage and innovation in these projects are basically distributed renewable energy generation. These are both off grid and on grid. We get guaranteed power provision for energy trading, because excess power can be sent back to the grid. Localized income generation suitable for remote areas, local employment opportunities, unskilled installation work, or affordable to local people. I mean, so this is a scalable design. Once it gets successful, it can be replicated to the other places also. This is one of the startup from by my student. I am the mentor for this is the startup that is basically e-cycles and e-bikes, electric cycle, electric bike. So I'm using an electric cycle since 2 years, and that is also developed in the lab. Basically, this is the cycle. It runs around 25 kilometer in a single 35 kilometer in a single charge, and can run up to maximum of 25 kilometer per hour. So we have used a 10 ampere hour 36 volt battery, and the motors used in this cycle is 36 volt and 250 watt motor we are using in this. This is basically we are using a PML DC motor. So this is the cheapest mode of travel in a small distance when we have a diesel and petrol rate more than 100 rupees. So this is how we work on it, the team. And this is something earlier we did, just the e-cycles. 2 years back we tested that. So this is all from my side about the inverters we have developed, and what exactly we are doing in the lab. I have not described this electric vehicle work in the detail, since today the presentation was on grid-tied solar inverter. So exactly what we did in the lab, that I have presented here. So that is regarding the inverter topology. Now whatever the next project we got, in which the DST already told us that they want a commercialized product, not a laboratory research type. Okay, so you can see that here in the hardware itself. Yes, so this all is basically a laboratory work. You can say the TRL level of 3 or 4. But now the DST told us that they want a ready to sell, a product which can be commercialized. So industry is supporting us. We will develop the technology in the lab, and industry will help us to have a scalable product with all packaging and all, so that we can commercialize it in the market. So this all is from my side. I'll be happy to take your questions. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So thank you, sir. Thank you very much. If any participant have any query any kind of questions, they can directly ask to sir. Arun sir is there. If anyone of from the participants have any query, they may directly ask to sir. Okay, let me check, sir, in the chat box also, whether maybe some queries may be there in chat box also.
Till now, no query is there.
So any of the participant, if they want to interact with sir, they can directly ask to sir. Although we are having a good number of participants in this session also, we are having it right now, we are having around 55 participants. Although since most of the participants are some faculty members in some institutions, so that's why they may have some classes and kind of thing. And maybe they are in the way to coming, they are going their houses because this is the time for the office is over now. So maybe some of the faculty members are in the way. So anyway, I think with this, I am formally very much thankful to Professor Arun sir for being with us with a wonderful session. Sir, you have really done a great job. You are doing the real practical things. As you have shown that you are doing one of the experimental, or I mean say a practical work for a school, wherein you are installing some rooftop solar PV systems with the help of DST and all. Further, you are also, since you have mentioned that you are working on one of the commercial thing with the DST also, wherein DST wants exactly the packaged part of that product basically. So really, you are doing great, and hopefully in the near future we will arrange some more events like this. Maybe we will try to arrange one conference here in Bikaner. So I am surely connected with, will be there with you.
Better to organize the IEEE conference. Okay, not those international,
yes,
not
yes,
those
exactly.
national.
Yes.
You put
Yes.
your proposal with that IEEE Delhi section. I'm also member there, and
Yes,
if GC Bikaner want to organize that, that's a welcoming step. So try
yes,
for
sir.
a good
A
conference.
very
That is
way back yes, yes, a way back very that was one of the conference held at our institution, that is sponsored by IEEE, that is
2016.
PyCon. We had
2016.
here at
2016.
Right, sir.
Yeah, I was a technical
Yes, sir,
chair in
yes.
that conference.
Okay.
Yeah.
At that time, I was not here. I was at Delhi doing my
IIT
that
Delhi,
one
yeah.
PhD.
Good evening, sir.
So that was
Yes,
really
please.
nice. We will try for new events and new conferences also. Maybe we will also try to go for some grants from AICT and all. So since like this event, we may get some grants from AICT, DST and all kind of things. So with this, I am once
DSIR
again
is
very much
also giving
thankful.
grant for this. Yeah, DSIR is also giving grant for this conference and all. You can also look upon
Yes,
that.
yes.
Yeah.
So I think with this we should end this session. So I am very much
Participant is asking
again
some
thankful.
question, I think.
Yes. Sir, participants are okay. Participants want to ask.
Anyone is asking? Because I heard some voice.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Let me check.
Yeah, some
sir,
Rupak.
actually, I'm just curious that you have done one project in a village, na? So I just wanted to ask you that how you come with this idea, and what is the real response towards the villagers, or like installing
Basically, the
something
idea
like
came from the blackouts from all over the world. Professor Pota visited India and he came to our MNIT Jaipur. Professor Pota from University of New South Wales, Australia. He is one of our research collaborators. When I was at UCLA, he was also in the same lab. So I have a good terms with him, and once we are discussing this idea, he told that a lot of blackouts are going on and we are not doing anything. So this system which we have developed, a kind of a system in which if your grid is totally failed, okay, this system can supply power to whole village. So because the reference is not from the grid, not from the synchronous generator, not from any diesel generator. The reference is from the battery itself. So this is a isolated system, you can say. And if blackouts happens, nothing will damage to this. Maybe your grid is out of power, but the system will work here. Okay. So the idea came from the lot of blackouts from the world. And I will frankly say that this idea, first of all, this idea was discussed by Professor Himanshu Roy Pota, who is our international PI in this project. Since Australia and US is also, Canada is also supporting this proposal. They are supporting us technically. There is a soft collaboration between us. So that was first we discussed. And because in Australia, you can't play with grid. So Professor Pota wanted we should develop it in India. So I wrote the grant and we got the grant from the DST. DST was happy to give us around 3 crore for this project. So in this way, we came out with this, and we select the site in the village because ultimately we want to do something meaningful. At the end of the day, if the benefit can be taken by the people at the lowest end, that is somehow we can say that our work is successful,
Right,
satisfactory, just like that.
Right, sir. Sir, so response is like, what kind of response is there now
No,
after
these
installment?
people are supporting like anything. The sarpanch and all. No, see, if the sarpanch is not available in the village, definitely we won't be able to do our work. Okay, and he's supporting us like anything. Even sometimes he is spending his own money also for small task.
Right, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Any other participant? Yes.
Any other question from the participant, please?
Even if any participant want to ask through chat box, they can write their query in the chat box also.
Yeah. They can write in the chat box also. If they want, they can mail me also, and I'm available.
Sir, if you could able to write, you can please write your mail ID in the chat box so that the participants will be able to know the mail ID. Maybe they will directly contact to you through mail.
So I have written my email ID in the chat box.
Yes.
So if any query or something, if you want to discuss, I'm available. Thank you.
So, all right, sir. So once again, I formally thank you very much for being here with us. So thank you very much, sir. So I think we should leave now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, participants, I have shared the link for the attendance here in this this meeting. You may see here in the chat box. You can record your attendance there. I'll post one more time because maybe some of the participants have joined later on. So if they have joined later, then maybe they will not get the link. So I'm just copying and pasting once again the link of the attendance.